Okay, good. So today we are studying from Wonders. Remember last time we were reading a story, but we didn't finish it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you remember what that story was about?
It's about a little girl who wants to plant tomatoes.
Yes. Okay. So let me share the screen with you. Let's see over here. There we go. Right. And then she had a neighbor, right? Do you remember what the story was with the neighbor?
Uh, the neighbor, the
Mhm.
neighbors. I remember that the neighbor's wife had died, and the garden is full of the flowers that the neighbor and his wife have planted.
Yes. Okay. So let's take a look here at page 24. I think we might have started with this page, but let's read it again just to recap. Okay. Yes, you can read, please.
Melly cleared her throat, and Mr. Taylor looked up. Melly decided to walk over to the fence. Hi, Mr. Taylor, she said. He waved and turned away. Wait, Melly cried. Taking a risk while she still felt brave, she rushed to gather her thoughts. Mr. Taylor, Mrs. Fair isn't doing her tomato stand anymore because she's getting old. So I like to grow tomatoes. I don't want to get in the way of your flowers, though. I mean, I really like tomatoes. Suddenly, Mr. Taylor smiled. Maybe I'm not sure what you're talking about, but you've made me smile. Reasons to smile have been scarce lately. What do you want to do? As Mr. Taylor listened,
Yes, it's okay. Go on.
an idea came to him. I still need a place to plant my flowers, but there's room for tomatoes. How about I make you a loan? I'll let you use a plot of land in my yard. I'll help you, and when your garden starts to prosper, you can repay me with a few tomatoes.
Okay, let's pause there quickly. All right. So last time we were talking about the vocabulary, right? And one of the words was prosper and how to use it. So it can mean to make a profit, a business can prosper, or when something is growing really well. You can see here, they talk about the garden that prospers. Okay, so I can't see you suddenly. Are you there?
Yes,
Okay. Um, have you ever tried growing your own vegetables?
yes, we have a lesson which we have to plant some vegetables. If you count that vegetables, it's actually beans.
Yes. Tomatoes are quite easy to grow. I had a vegetable garden too, but now I live in an apartment, so I don't have one anymore. And if you had a large plot of land, how would you use it?
Mm, maybe I'll have a little space to get to like let my pet roam about, and maybe the other parts may have flowers or vegetables.
Yes, okay. So we can maybe have some flowers in the front and some vegetables in the back. Always good to have both. The flowers also help the vegetables because they attract bees, right? Okay, so let's see over here. I'll just make it a bit bigger. Okay, you can continue.
Melly and Mr. Taylor shook his hand on this deal. But first, Mr. Taylor said, you'll have to make an investment by buying some tomato plants at the nursery.
Yes, let's hold on there for a moment. What is an investment?
It's I think it's like a start, maybe.
Okay, so an investment is when you put money in for something and then maybe you don't get anything back right away, but you give it some time. And after a period of time, you will get more money back. Now, we can talk about different kinds of things as investments. So education is an investment in yourself, right? Um, some people think that buying fancy cars are a good investments, but not really. Okay, you can also invest money in a bank. You will pay them money and they will hold it for you and give you back a larger amount after a few years, we hope. Okay, so also when you want to start a project or you want to start a business, at first you might need to spend money to get your equipment and your shop. So that is an investment in your business. Okay, you get it right. Okay, have you ever invested in anything?
I don't think I do because we don't really start something that will cost us money and make profit. But I
Okay.
know that in some of the countries, they will have like this cupcakes or lemonades, but we don't here.
Yes, okay. Well, we can also think about time as an investment. If you invest your time in something that will benefit you. So I think at this point, maybe you've invested your time, maybe in studies or a hobby.
Mm,
So do you invest a lot of time in reading?
yes, I do.
Yes. Okay, so that is a good example. It takes a lot of time, right? But it's going to help expand your mind and you learn things. So it is kind of an investment. Okay, let's continue here. Molly thought.
Okay. Molly thought, well, I have some savings from my allowance and I was saving to buy a computer game. She paused, but I rather have tomatoes, so let's start right away. The next day, Melly brought all the tomato plants she could afford. Mr. Taylor told Melly how to prepare a soil and place the plants. Finally, Melly placed stakes in the ground to help hold the plants up. Mr. Taylor explained, once the tomatoes come, the heavy fruit makes the branches bend. Then all they could do it was water, pull weeds, and wait.
Okay. Okay, so there's a lot of maintenance to be done in a vegetable garden. It is hard work. So what do you need to do if you want to successfully grow vegetables?
You'll have to pull the weeds, and maybe you'll have to pick the worm out.
Yes, if there are bugs, you will have to do that. Yes, so we can say that is like pest control. What do you think? Do you think it's okay to just spray pesticides or take them off with your hands, or maybe use something else like a companion planting? Have you heard about companion planting?
No.
Okay, so certain plants help to repel insects, or especially if you plant them in combination next to another plant. These two plants are good friends, and the one will help to keep bugs away from the other plant. Sometimes they do this by actually attracting insects. So the worms will go to this plant instead of to your crop, to your tomatoes. They'll rather go to this one. Or some of them have a strong smell, like garlic. They put garlic in the beds, and this repels pests. Okay, so what do you think is the best way to practice pest control? What are the options that you would consider?
Mm, maybe. I think you'll plant other. It'll be planting other plants.
Okay, companion planting. Yes, I think it also depends. Personally, I think a combination approach. So I would personally go for companion planting, plus just checking. Sometimes you can make traps for the snails. I think you put cucumber, and I'm not sure what else in a foil bowl, and they will fall in there. So something like natural pest traps. And then if the pest gets really severe and it's going to destroy the whole garden, maybe put some pesticide on, but that should be a last resort, right? Okay, so let's go on over here.
When the fruit ripened, there were more juicy red tomatoes than even Melly could have imagined. There is no way I can eat all these, she realized. On Saturday, Melly and Mr. Taylor carried several crates of ripe tomatoes to the market, and by the day's end, they had sold them all. Not only did I get back the money I invested, said Melly, but I also made a profit of $20. Mr. Taylor said, those are also your wages. You've earned that money. Melly beamed and said, Mr. Taylor, maybe you could sell some of your flowers, and we could run a market stand together. Mr. Taylor pictured a garden of zinnias and marigolds, was already looking forward to the next summer.
Okay, so how did this story make you feel?
Mm, well, it made me feel like Mary had paid a lot of attention in this.
Yes.
And it
And
made me feel that if you wanted to do something, just don't stop.
okay, good. And what words would you use to describe this story? For example, heartwarming, courageous, inspiring, funny. I'm just giving examples, okay? Mine are not accurate descriptions, but which words would you choose to describe this story?
I think I would choose hard work
Hard work. Okay.
because you have to try hard and never stop when you wanted to do something. Like if Mel
Okay.
stopped planting the tomatoes, she wouldn't have a profit of $20.
Yes. Okay. And there's also something in the story about human relationships, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened in this story between two people?
Mm, Mr. Taylor helped Melly grow tomatoes, and Melly thanked him.
And do you think that he was maybe lonely?
Yes, I think he's long because because he had no one to talk to, and his wife has passed away.
Yes. And how do you think it made him feel to have a new friend to work on a project with together?
I think he'll be very happy because you have something to do with somebody else.
Yes. So it's about a vegetable garden, but it's also about the people and how they come into each other's lives and they help each other. Okay. So how did Molly and Mr. Taylor get something that they needed?
Mm, Molly helped Mr. Taylor get that. Well, Mr. Taylor wanted to talk to someone and worked with someone, and Melly did that for him. And Mr. Taylor had helped Melly because he agreed to let Melly plant her tomatoes in his garden.
Yes. Okay. And how has someone helped you get something that you need?
It could be very simple. It could be very difficult. Like
Yeah.
you just
You
hand something to me, and that is something that is this something I need? You already did it, but it is about friendship. Like when I'm lonely, my friend came to talk to him, to talk to me, and I can still feel happy, and that's just what I needed. So it could be also complicated or easy.
yes. Okay. So let's see over here, that's 25. Let's go on to the next part here. Okay, so let's take a look at some comprehension strategies. Okay, so sequence of events. Do you know what sequence is?
Mm, sequence is the order in which the plot events happened in a story.
Okay, so a story, especially a fiction, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So sometimes in a story, especially in a longer novel or something like a sci-fi novel where there's time travel, they might jump around from different times. The, the book might start at the end and then it will have some flashback memories from what happened in the past. But most of the time, it has a linear time. So the beginning of the story usually gives us some background about the characters. It's usually in the first part of the story, the author will take time to set the scene, to describe where it is happening, and to introduce the characters. Usually in the middle, there will be some problem or some conflict that needs to be resolved. And towards the end will be how this problem, how they resolve the conflict or the situation most of the time. Okay, so find text evidence. So we can see over here what leads to the idea. Okay, so the beginning introduces Molly, her mom, and the neighborhood. So this is quite typical at the beginning that they will set the scene. And here you see the characters, the setting, and the beginning. This is a chart. Okay, so what happens in the middle of the story?
In the middle of the story. Mm, there's a lot happened in the middle story.
Yeah.
I'll take three of them. Her mother told Melly that Mrs. Fair is not growing her tomatoes anymore, and the second, Melly asked Mr. Taylor to help grow tomatoes, and the third, they grow tomatoes together, and it actually prospered.
Yes. So in the middle, they start to introduce the conflict or the problem in the story. And the problem is that the tomato stand was closing down. And also, Mr. Taylor had flowers growing in his yard. They couldn't just use the whole yard for vegetables, right? Okay, and then in the end, this is usually, oopsie, sorry about that. This is usually where the problem gets solved, right? So how does the problem get solved at the end?
Mm, the problem, Mr. Taylor agreed that Melly should grow her tomatoes in his garden, and Melly's tomatoes grow very well.
Yes. Oh, yes. We could also add to the middle part. They do tell us that Mr. Taylor's wife had died. So another conflict or problem in the story is that he was sad and lonely. He said, now here's where text evidence comes in. Find text evidence. He said that reasons to smile have been scarce lately. This is telling us he's sad. So another conflict in the story is that he's lonely. And at the end, they solve this by working together and becoming friends. Right. Do you understand this? Find
Yes.
text evidence and okay. All right. So this genre is realistic fiction. What is realistic fiction?
A realistic fiction. It tells about characters, settings, and events that are like people, places, and events in real life. And it also includes dialogue.
Dialogue.
dialogue and descriptive details, and often includes illustrations.
Yes. Okay. So here you can see it's real, but it's not, right? Fiction is a made-up story and real means true. Okay. So find text evidence. How can we find text evidence? I can tell a fresh idea is realistic fictions because it gives details about the neighborhood and it shows that all of these things could happen in real life. The characters do and say things that real people would do. Okay. So let's take a look over here at context clues. I want you to read over here for me, please. Sorry, I just need to take a sip of water. Can you go on
Oh,
here when you
okay.
read?
When you read a sentence and do not know what a word means, you can look at the other words and phrases in the sentence to help you figure out the meaning.
Yes. So Molly placed stakes in the ground. Now, if we didn't know what stakes meant, we can read the phrase to help hold plants up. Okay, so now we know what stakes do, and this helps us to understand what that means, right? So does it sometimes happen that when you read, because you read a lot, right? Maybe
Yes.
there's a word and you don't know it, but you still understand the sentence. You still understand what the sentence means. Even when you don't understand a certain word in the sentence.
Well, you can like try to use other words.
Yes, that's exactly it. You can look at the words around it to find out how it's meant. Also, when you think about multiple meaning words, when you have a multiple meaning word like spring, they drank water from the spring. Are they talking about the season of the year?
No, it
No.
is
Yeah.
the
So
gush.
the same thing with multiple meaning words. We need to look at the context. Okay. So let's find the context clues that show us the meaning of plot on page 24.
Plot. It's down there. Plot. Where's the plot word?
Ah, here.
Plot of land in my yard.
Okay.
I
So they
think
say,
I think plot would be a place because he said land in my yard, and also he has said there's rooms for tomatoes.
yes, that's right. Okay, good. Let's take a look at nursery, page 24. Also page 24, I think it's here.
Nursery. Okay. Nursery is a place to buy plants.
Yes, it's telling us you can buy them. Okay. And the next one is ripened on page 25.
Ripened.
Let's see.
Okay. Ripened. It is ripen means it got juicy, and for tomatoes it got red.
Yes. Okay. So I think that is quite clear. No mystery there. All right. So this is about writing skills, how writers can develop their writing with descriptive details. So descriptive details helps the reader to visualize and really get a feeling like they're there in that moment. So the author will use a lot of sensory language. Okay, let's find some sensory language that makes us understand how this place looks, smells, and tastes. For example, here's a word, bright.
Right. and I think, and also look.
Yes, there are some verbs here: ran, skip, jumped.
Landscape
We can really visualize that happening, right?
visited and
Mhm.
look. Wait, no,
Yes.
no, look, and she pointed.
Mm. And it's telling us, it's giving us a very clear picture of this neighborhood. Okay, so we can see the neighbors' dogs, we can see the budding trees, and
The
we can
trees.
see, we can visualize a block. Okay, I get it now. The neighborhood is laid out in blocks, and I can see the market stand. So when we read this, it's very and the puddles, it's very easy to see all of this, to visualize all of this, right? So it would have been completely different if they just said one Saturday morning they walked around the neighborhood and she was waiting for the stand for the market to open. You know, all of these little details help build out the the picture that we can have in our mind. Okay, so Chloe, it is time to say goodnight, and I will not be here next week, okay? So I am arranging for you, you might have a class with one of our other teachers, and she will know exactly what to do, okay?
Okay.
And yes, her name is, I think it's teacher Jill that yes, I think she will teach your class, yes, okay. So I will also confirm with your mom, okay?
Okay.
But I don't think we will have class on Saturday. So it will be Tuesday next week, okay? And yes, then I will see you when I come back. I'm going on a trip to Thailand. Yes. So I will be gone for a few days and yeah, I'm going to Phuket
No problem.
tomorrow morning. Okay. So thank you for practicing with me today and I will see you after the holiday. Okay.
Good teacher.
Bye.
Goodbye.